So thank you all for coming, and hopefully this is well worth your time. I've been an adjunct lecturer in the program since fall of 2003, where I've taught the various IT courses. And also, I am currently the Senior Director of IT Services over at the Metropolitan Period Exposition Authority. And for those who don't know, I was a graduate from the program. I graduated in '98 with my MPA. It's been my pleasure to work with Margaret on getting this program up and running. As she mentioned, and as Jim mentioned, there are actually three events that we're planning, this being the first, sort of the pilot. The second event is going to be next month, around the same time, I think the March 16th or 17th, and that's going to focus on career strategies. And then the third event will be in April, and will focus on opportunities in the nonprofit sector, which should be really interesting. So hopefully you can make it, and also again, sign in. Hopefully we'll have some sort of feedback mechanism that we can get out to you at some point, so we can just kind of gauge how you thought the event went. A few things. Now, tonight's event is going to focus on professional networking, all right, which is sort of a topic that's sort of near and dear to my heart. Everyone has their own different takes in terms of what networking is all about. All right, I mean, there's everything from developing your personal networks, your business networks, your professional networks. There's using social media, as some of you are familiar with. There's all kinds of different tools out there. So there's a lot of different ideas, and hopefully tonight, with our two terrific speakers, you'll get a better sense as to some tools and techniques that you can use to either develop a network or further refine or build up your network. And hopefully also really make a network that's sustainable, something that you can keep using. Because one thing that I really learned is that networks are things that you have to continue to grow. You have to continue to work on. You can't just add all your connections to LinkedIn and think that's your network. You need to do a lot more than that. So that's what I'm hoping you'll actually get out of this presentation. We have two terrific speakers tonight. We had three lined up, and unfortunately the third speaker, Dr. Kate Rivera, fell ill, so she's not going to be here tonight. So her part, which is the third part of the evening, we're going to sort of ad-lib, or we have our presentation ready to go. We're going to fill in for her. But our two guests are, first of all, Jeff Sidler, who I'll introduce to you a little bit more in a second. Jeff and I have a bit of a personal relationship here. I actually met Jeff back in 2005, 2006, through the Executives Club of Chicago. During that time, I was part of a special program at the Executives Club, and Jeff was my mentor for a good year. And the main thing that we talked about was professional networking, which sort of gave me the idea that, hey, this would be a good topic for all of you guys to get involved in. So Jeff has a ton of experience that he's going to share with all of you. And then Tom Basor, Basor. Tom is actually a graduate from the UPP program. He has his MUP from, when did you graduate?
Oh, I'm embarrassed to say. 1991.
There we go. All right. I've actually met Tom through various alumni functions, and I thought of Tom right away when we were putting together this agenda, because I don't know of anybody who's more of a social media wizard than Tom. I think he's, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. I think you're going to learn a lot from Tom. Tom is probably one of the coolest email signature lines in his Gmail account, where you have every single thing that he's plugged into. You click on all these little buttons from his YouTube page and everything else, things I haven't even heard of. So this guy really knows his social networking, and he has used this to great effect in his professional life. So again, these guys are going to have some great things to share with you. This is informal. As the presentations are going along, please ask questions, and we will have a group Q&A at the very end. I realize some of you may have to leave, since we only have two speakers. This may be done before 6, we're not sure. But if you have to leave, that's no problem. I realize you have classes. Okay? Reach out to Margaret after the event if you have any questions, or those of you who know me, you can reach out to me as well, and I can get back in touch with you. Okay? So without further ado, Jeff Sidler is going to start off with his part of the presentation. Jeff, let me just read a little bit of his bio here. Jeff brings a unique perspective on the evolution of careers, career paths, and the changing nature of the employee-employer relationship. Jeff used to work with the firm Lee Hecht Harrison, which is probably one of the world's premier talent management agencies, so to speak. And he's going to have a lot of exciting things to talk to you about tonight. Jeff has recently completed his MBA and his Master of Human Resources Management degrees from Keller. So without further ado, here's Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for coming and making time in your schedule to be with us tonight. This topic is near and dear to my heart. I did spend my time at Lee Hecht Harrison running the career management services. So what that essentially means is I was responsible for helping organizations help their employees who weren't impacted by downsizing to take ownership of their careers and to really invest in the direction of their career and whether they were going to stay with that firm to really become more engaged. We also work with leaders to help them have a different kind of conversation with employees. So it was less focused on purely performance and began to be also focused on possibilities. So with that, we'll be working through two things tonight. I would like you to, I'm hoping that you'll be able to walk away from my short section here at the beginning, having taken a look at how you'll analyze your network, and secondly, how you can begin building a personal board of directors. Jeff made reference to our time together where we had a mentor-mentee or a mentor-protege relationship. And he also indicated that we primarily spent our time talking about the concept of professional networking. You can have a mentor or somebody who has more of a different perspective on a variety of different aspects of your life. And we'll talk about that in a bit, too. So we'll start out with these are the goals for my section: understanding the vital importance of building broad and deep networks, and understanding how to find and build multiple mentoring relationships. We do have a Q&A section at the end, but please, if there's something that I say doesn't make sense or you want to expand on it, please ask the question now. Network. A lot of people get concerned about networking. They get hung up on the ing, and really it's about your network. If you have an understanding of the depth and breadth of your network, the networking begins to take care of itself. So I want to start by defining networks. They're a variety, all of these things lead to the same place. A network and networking is about two-way relationships. It's not just everybody you know, although that's one definition of a network, but it comes down to the people that you interact with, that you gain information from, but that you also give back. The benefits of effective networking, I've listed quite a few. You've got those in your handout. I just want to spend a second here on two of these. By networking, you can learn about and anticipate the changes in your work, your profession, your organization, your industry. Now, each of those are a little bit different. So I'm hoping that you can begin to have a sense of managing your network is not just about moving up. How quickly can I move up? But as you add value for the organizations that you work for, it's how you work horizontally in the organization, it's how you work down in the organization. By maintaining your network, you're never more than a phone call or two away from the answer to the problems that you come across in your career. Secondly, finding resources for open positions, projects, and committees. This is a little more in alignment with what we traditionally think about networking. I want to start networking now because I need a new job, when in fact we should all be networking all the time. In fact, some of the strongest networkers that I know are constantly connecting other people in their network to each other. Even when there wasn't a need that either of them knew about, I'm amazed when I get an email from somebody that says, hey, there's somebody that you need to meet. And we'll both be copied on the email. It may not give details on what we would gain from that, but when I start to communicate with that other person, just all these ideas and things begin to pop. So I like to be known as a connector, but right now I have a couple of people in my network who are far better connectors than I am, and I aspire to be stronger in that area. Kate's presentation, the third presenter, which we're going to go through her deck, she makes a good point about networking isn't really a numbers game. How many of you have a Facebook presence? How many of you have a LinkedIn presence? Just about everybody on both of those. If you think that the quality of your network is about the sum of your connections, you're missing an opportunity. Volume is important, but if you talk to folks that are very well versed at using LinkedIn from a professional standpoint, they'll tell you that there's a point of diminishing returns. When you get over 300 connections, it becomes very difficult to maintain those relationships. It's easy to stay connected electronically, but to truly leverage that and be able to know the people that's in that network, it starts to have diminishing returns. So a better way to measure the health of your network is